Okay, this is the lab demo for the over-the-counter drug analysis. First, make sure you put your name on your lab. And the night before the lab, make sure you answer these pre-questions. I did the first one for you, of this table. So what is the scientific definition of a drug? Doesn't have to be super scientific. Just get something on the internet. Don't just come up with something off of Urban Dictionary or anything. And then the drugs we're going to test today are aspirin, Tylenol, also known as acetaminophen, Advil, also known as ibuprofen, Excedrin, Tums, Rolaids, and Alka-Seltzer. So what you need to do is you need to check whether it's an antacid or a pain reliever. What is the active ingredient? You can look that up on the internet, or if you got a bottle of it at home. And then I gave the formulas for you for all those, because those can vary and can be hard to find. And then look for any similarities, write that in there for number 3. And then you'll see the things that you need. Exact quantities are not necessary, but I'm not going to read through step by step. You need to do that tonight before the lab. One of the main things I mentioned is what will really save you time is to have a little diagram so that when you put your well plate up next to it, you can tell what fits where. Okay, this will really help keep you organized. So how to make one of those real fast. This is just a scrap piece of paper from out of the classroom. You can just use any type of piece of paper you want. So now I'm going to angle the camera down and show you quickly. I did one for the pain relievers. This is for the antacids. So first thing I do is I just mark the corner, and then I'm going to mark the line between each well. Even though I don't use them all, I can mark them real fast. And then using this chart here, I'm going to label those lines. So the first thing is the appearance. Even though most of these look the same, the appearance might give something away. And then solubility and pH. Next is our HCl reaction. An abbreviation for reaction is RXN. And then we'll also do the pH. And then the last one is the iron 3 nitrate reaction, RXN. The columns, we'll do Tums in the first one, just like what's on the chart here. Rolaids in the second column. I spelled it wrong. Rolaids. Alka-Seltzer, I'm just going to abbreviate AS. And then my unknown. And my unknown for the antacids has an A in front of it. So this is A21. And for my pain reliever, there's no prefix. It's just a number. So I got number 1. Okay, you definitely need to identify those, especially on here and on the back. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in there before I get. My antacid is A21. My pain reliever was number 1. Also, I have my station set up nice and neat. Here are the distilled water with the eyedropper in it. Keep that eyedropper in there. Here's the iron 3 nitrate solution and the eyedropper that goes for that. Do not cross-contaminate. Do not put the iron 3 nitrate dropper in with the water or use the water dropper to get the iron 3 nitrate. You have to pay attention to what you're doing. This is just a little dropper of 0.5 hydrochloric acid. I have a cup full of clean toothpicks. Do not put, what's this thing here? Yes, I'm in the call. This clean toothpicks only. Do not put the dirty ones back in here. Got pH strips. We could tear these in half and double them. All of the pain relievers and the antacids have their own spatula labeled. Use only the labeled ones with that substance. Do not cross-contaminate. Another good rule, if you take a cap off, put the cap back on. Do not leave all these caps off, and then there's a good chance of cross-contamination. Same with this. If you take the cap off, put the cap back on. Same with this. If you take the cap off, put the cap back on. If you take the cap off, put the cap back on. Nice and neat all the way across. So we only need just a few granules. So I need to put, the first column is aspirin. So I'm going to put just a little tiny little bit of aspirin in each one, just barely enough to see on the end of that stick. Be careful that you get it in exactly where it goes. So aspirins are in the first column only. I'm done. Put the cap back on. Put that one aside. The next column is for Tylenol. So I'm going to take the Tylenol cup and the Tylenol spatula and just a teeny tiny little bit in each well of the second column. Once I'm done, put the cap back on, put it aside. Third column is Advil, also known as ibuprofen. So I got the spatula for ibuprofen and the cap for Advil. Those are the same thing. And that's going to go in every well of the third column. And that's probably a little bit too much there, but that's okay. And if you mess up and put something in the wrong pocket, you got to dump it all out and start all over. So this is why it pays to really pay attention and read your lab ahead of time. The next to the last one is Excedrin. Excedrin. Put a little bit of Excedrin in each of the wells of the fourth column, just a teeny tiny little bit. We just want to do a little bit because we're going to add just a little bit of these solutions. If you have too much of the solid in there, it won't work. Now we're using the unknown, which is for the pain relievers, which mine was number 1. I don't want to grab my antacid. I'm going to use a brand new clean coffee stirrer thing, and I'm going to take just a little bit out. I only need 4 little samples, so I don't need much. And that goes in each of the 5th ones. It's kind of hard to get out of there sometimes. So you have to pay attention. This is where you want to work as a team, where someone, maybe even puts a finger down on, hey, make sure you do this column. Make sure you do this column. Okay. So I got plenty left in case I mess up and I got to start over. Put the cap back on, and this was for my pain reliever. I don't want to use that for my antacid. All right. I have another cup that says trash only. I do not put the clean, I don't take anything out of there. I also have a couple paper towels for emergency spills, or the used pH paper. It's good for this. Okay. Now, so the first row, you see that it says just appearance. I'm going to use that just to make it a look at all the appearance, and they're all white granules. So I would just put in here, it's just white powder, white granules. In fact, if it's that same way all the way across, just put an arrow all the way across. But that's what it is. Okay. Next is solubility. This is where I'm going to add as you see in the directions, just a few drops. It says like 5 drops of water in each one of the second row. So not second column, second row. I'm going to add 5 drops. Now you don't have to count exactly 5 drops. 5 or 6 is good enough. So I'm going to squeeze a little bit, and I'm going to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good enough. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A little bit more. And lastly, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Did I get one in that one? No, I missed one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, done with the water. Put the dropper back in and put it where it belongs. Forgot to put my goggles on, but I'll do it now. Most of the things we deal with on this lab are pretty safe, but the hydrochloric acid, you don't want that in your eyes. The iron-3 nitrate might sting a little bit, but I wouldn't want that in my eyes either. And some of these powders can easily flake up. It hits you in the eye, so wear your eye protection. All righty. So now the next is we're going to test the pH of each of those. So there's 5 wells, so probably 3 pieces. And make sure your fingers are dry and clean when you grab this pH paper out. And maybe one of your lab partners can do that. And we can just tear these in half. That's more than enough. Okay. I want to get a clean Q-tip and use a clean Q-tip for each hole. Don't just go across. Clean one in each hole. And I'm going to give each one a little stir. Stir, 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 stir. You can count to 10 or 20. That's probably good enough. And when I'm done, I want to put that in my trash bin and make sure we don't have any drops that are going to fall out. Get a clean Q-tip or toothpick and stir the second one, second column. And these are the pointy Q-tips. Sometimes it's easier to break off a flat piece or break off the sharp tip so you get kind of a flatter piece to stir. Stir, 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 stir. Done. Tappy tap. Put it in the trash. Third one. Let's go ahead and break this one. Get a little better. Stir, stir, stir. Done. Throw it away. Fourth column, second row, stir, stir, stir. So if I had a lab partner, they could be breaking off a couple more Q-tips or toothpicks for me. And I'll just do it here. I got 3 of them here. Break those in half, so I got a nice, good flat spot. And then the last one, this is my unknown. It's the 5th column, second row. Trash. Now we want to test the pH, and I would like to put the papers in the same order over here on my trash just so I can take a quick look at them. You just want to dip it in, put it to the side. Red is acid, blue is base. The kind of the regular color is neutral. So if I had a lab partner, they could be getting them ready for me. So there's 3, that's neutral. And 4th column, tap, that's red, that's acid. And for my unknown, dip it in, that's kind of reddish and that's acid. Now on the pH paper guide, so see someone could be doing this, you can see it's somewhere between 1 and 3. You don't have to get the exact thing, but it will dilute as it spreads up. So that was about a 1 or a 2. The Excedrin was about a 2, and the first one was about a 1 or a 2. So, and the solubility, it says in the lab how to kind of judge that. Since we got a white background, it doesn't show up too well on the white background. So I'm going to slide it out over the black desktop, and they're all insoluble. So I'm going to put insoluble, and the pH for the aspirin was about 1 to 2. It doesn't have to be exact. Let's just say 2 is the pH. Tylenol was neutral. See, I kept them in the same order over here so I can easily go back and review. So Tylenol was insoluble and neutral, so it's about 7. Same way with the Advil, it was insoluble and neutral, so it was about 7. Excedrin was insoluble and it was acidic, so I said it was about a 1 or a 2, so let's say 2. And my unknown was insoluble and it was about a 1 or 2, so let's say a 2. You don't have to argue over the 1s or the 2s. If we needed pH that precisely, we would use a pH meter or titration. So far, it looks like it could be aspirin or Excedrin. Okay, but that's not enough. I gotta figure it out. So far, those are the ones that it may be, but let's keep testing. Next, I'm going to drop about 5 drops of hydrochloric acid and give it a little stir and test the pH again. So I'm going to take the cap off. Oh, and we're going to do about 5 drops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think a couple of those I only had 4 in. That's good enough. Put the cap back on, put it away. Now I need more stirring things. I think I got a little acid on my hand, so I'm gonna get a tissue and just wipe it off real fast. I'll rinse it off really well at the end of the lab. So 5 fresh toothpicks and stir, 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 stir. And then put it in the trash. Another toothpick. Third row, second column. Stir, stir, stir. Trash. Third row, third column. Stir, stir, stir. Trash. And for my unknown, stir, stir, stir. And if I had a lab partner, they could be getting, looks like I got maybe 1 or 2 strips of pH paper left over there that I already tore from the second step. So I'll need about 3 more. So if I had a lab assistant or lab partner, they'd be getting out a few more strips. I think 2 more should do it because that will give me 4 plus 1 is 5. So again, tearing them in half. A good old lab assistant, lab partner helping me out, working fast. Okay, so I'm going to dip. Boop. Definitely acidic. That's definitely a 1. Nice dark red. Second one, same thing. Lab assistant, lab partner to be getting these ready for me. Dip it in, definitely a dark red, definitely a 1. Excedrin, definitely a red, definitely a 1. And my unknown, oops, dipping it in, definitely red, definitely acidic. So all these, and reaction-wise, they're still all insoluble. There was no color changes or bubbles, or at least large amounts of bubbles. So pretty much no reaction. So I'll put that. I'll put NR for no reaction. And then the pH is 1 on all these, very dark red. All right, so this test was pretty much inconclusive on, because so it's still, it doesn't refute either the aspirin or the Excedrin. So, but it's still about the same. Now the bottom row is, we're going to take about 5 drops of the iron 3 nitrate. So carefully take the top off. And we're, again, about 5 drops. Doesn't have to be exactly 5, but if it's 4 or 6 or 7, that's fine. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, oops, 6, that's okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Ooh, see a reaction there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oops, I should have noticed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And my unknown. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I'm going to squirt out what's left and lay the dropper down, put the cap back on. And you can see here, there's definitely some color change going on. I'm going to try not to spill this. Got definitely some color change going on. So definitely some reactions. So for the aspirin, it kind of turned, and if I had a lab partner, they could break off some sticks for me. Give it a stir to get a better reaction, a more comprehensive explanation of what's going on. Again, different toothpick for each well. So the first one with the aspirin just turned a slight pink. For the second one, for the Tylenol, it turned a dark blue. For the Advil, not much of a change. It kind of turned yellow. For the Excedrin, it turned purpley. Kind of even a darker blue than the Tylenol. And then for my unknown. So from the test one, with the solubility and the pH, I narrowed it down to aspirin and Excedrin. And now when I compare this is my unknown, this is the Excedrin. They look nothing alike. Let me see if I can get a white piece of paper up here to compare. This is my unknown, this is the Excedrin. They're nothing alike. Here's my unknown, here's the aspirin. Those look pretty, that was one of the ones I narrowed it down to in the solubility and pH. So I'm going to judge that this is aspirin. So again, I would record, or my lab partner would record the colors. We all need to kind of agree on what colors it is. So like maybe a rose, a dark blue. For the Advil, it was kind of a yellow. And for the Excedrin, it was a purple. And for my unknown, it's got to be aspirin. It was kind of that rose colored. So back here on the back page, I'm going to put my group claims that pain reliever unknown number 1 is aspirin. If you don't put what your unknown number was, the label, its ID, there's no way I can tell whether this is right or wrong. So you're just going to get it wrong. You have to put in your ID number. Then I'm going to do the same thing for the antacids. It's the same procedure, but I've already got this thing made out for once I clean out my well plate really well. Clean it out. It doesn't have to be super duper dry, but clean it out, definitely. And I had this made out ahead of time. It's just like the one for the pain relievers, but one of your lab partners could fill this out ahead of time so you're ready to go. One of your lab partners could be breaking off toothpicks as needed, tearing the pH paper as needed, even taking off the caps, and whoever's going to do the dropping the things in. somebody needs to be watching to make sure you're putting the right things in the right row and the correct column. That's what's going to mess up your results. So neatness and attention to detail. It's not super neat like in an art class or anything, but I've got things organized and I know what I'm doing. If you take a cap off, put a cap on, do not cross-contaminate anything. Not super duper accurate. Precise. There's no math calculations. And then on the back page, there's some questions to answer. And that's it. Should be able to get it done in a class period with no problem. Make sure you read that lab tonight. Good luck. Where's the off button?